Hi, everybody. I'm really happy to be here. Um, I love this kind of learning opportunity. So I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Krista Steiche. I'm a CDA for 5 years now with the Eastern Townships School Board, and I work specifically with two rural schools, Butler and Farnham Elementary. And we're just going to dive into a program that we've been able to keep going throughout the years. 5 years that I've been here, and prior to that, it's been 8 plus. So, why I believe in learning outside, part of it is because of childhood memories and nostalgia. So, I was fortunate enough to live near a lake, Lake Champlain. My grandmother had a cottage there. And many of my summers and my weekends were spent collecting sea glass, skipping stones, finding unique pieces of driftwood, kayaking. And so those are my fondest memories. And I'm sure if we went around the room, we could connect some of our fondest childhood memories with times that we spent outdoors. And then fast forward, I became a mother, and I wanted to ensure that my children had similar experiences. You'll notice in the picture beside, that's my son and my niece enjoying the same beach that I did as a child. Fast forward again, I began to work in the school system, and I realized that all children really deserve these kinds of experiences. And through various workshops and studies that I was exposed to, I learned how these programs can positively impact the child. So the program that we've been in partnership with is Leaves and Lichens, and the creator is Rebecca Sully, and she has a background in art and environment education. She's a teaching artist with ELAN, and she also completed training with CHSSN, Youth Mental Health Initiative. She has been working with schools for over 8 years, like I said, and working with us specifically 5 years I've been working with her. And she has experience in all grade levels, but our schools in recent years have decided to focus this resource in our K4 and K5 program. In both schools, we have a total of 5 K4 and K5 classes. So the program at this level reaches a lot of students during this peak developmental time. My role as a CDA, so our CLC is an extended model or a multi-site school, and this is how we have been able to extend this partnership within both schools. We connect activities like this to the CLC action plan and the educational plans by ensuring total well-being of the child, as this emphasized in the documents of our action plan and our educational plans. So basically, we believe that a healthy, happy child has a better academic success. So usually how it works is Rebecca and I will be in contact with each other. I will present the different programs to teachers. And then at that point, once I have teachers who are willing to participate, Rebecca and the teacher will discuss schedules and activities and themes and outcomes. The duration of these workshops, usually they're done during our school day with Rebecca and the teachers being present. Teachers choose between either 4 or 6 weeks, and each workshop runs for about an hour. It can extend depending if we go off-site. You'll see in other slides that we do have access to a lot of outdoor space within the towns, so sometimes it does go a little beyond an hour. And teachers are encouraged to continue outdoor learning after the program is completed. So they're able to gain a better sense of how to incorporate this kind of outdoor learning with their students by participating alongside with Rebecca. The workshops are done in all seasons, in all kinds of weather. Teachers just make sure to inform parents that their child will be participating to ensure that there is proper and adequate outdoor clothing. So I'm going to discuss a little bit about an educator's perspective. So I've been in the CDA role for 5 years, but prior to that, I was a pre-K educator for 5 years. So I was fortunate enough to participate alongside children in this program. And there are a couple things I noticed. So students spoke and asked questions frequently. And I realized that that is part of their development in this age category. But what I noticed is that they wouldn't go off topic as much as they would in the classroom. So they would mostly ask questions pertaining to what they were experiencing right then and there. They would use natural materials to count or create letters or numbers and art. So I've included some pictures, some girls here with some crab apples making the letter A, and below a student using dandelions to create a picture. The bottom picture was a bit more of a structured activity that Rebecca did with them. Something else that I noticed is they worked together to build structures. So when we were in the woods, very rarely would I see a student alone building. Oftentimes their peers would come and help, and they would begin to collaborate amongst each other. And then outside of the experience back in the classroom, I noticed that they were calmer. We've spent an hour plus outside, and they just seemed in a calmer state. I also noticed that peer collaboration that was seen outside seemed to also transfer back into the classroom. Before I go to the next slide, the next slide is just an example from a K-5 student at Butler. And it's an example of child-led inquiry. And I love how the student frames the question through a child's imagination, but you can really see maybe what she was trying to ask. It's really cute.
If we pushed a log, I wonder if we pushed the log into the water and got on it, if it would turn into like a dog and swim through the water.
So students are encouraged to ask questions. They're encouraged to develop their own answers. Students observe and test out their own theories on why or what will happen. So this kind of program, it doesn't necessarily need a lot of tools, but there are some things that definitely allow for a deeper understanding for students and exploration, as well as being able to elongate that time outside. So these things include magnifying glasses, compasses, snowshoes, thermal socks, rain suits. And these items are either purchased by the school through grants, or the program animator brings them to each workshop. And here I have some examples of an older student learning how to use a compass. Some students in the corner using magnifying glasses to look more closely up at a rotting log. And then we have at the bottom some students doing some snowshoeing. So I'll dive in a little bit to where we're located and why this kind of a program works based on our location and the kind of activities that we do. So activities take place on school grounds or in local nature parks. So Butler, you'll see the top picture, those students observing a loon, I believe. Yeah. Butler has access to a river right behind the school called Pike River. And then Farnham is in walking distance to the Yamaska River as well. And there's also a nature center that is about a 20-minute walk. The nature park has a large pond, as well as about 2.5 kilometers of wooded walking trails. Some of the activities that children participate in are seasonal observation walks. So children are encouraged to use their 5 senses when walking. They're asked, what do they hear? What do they smell? What do they see? Each workshop begins and ends with a talking circle, so children share stories and observations about that day. There is always a literacy aspect, so a story time, and books are selected to connect with the seasons or the theme. And these read-alouds really help children deepen their understanding of nature through imagination and language. And then we have forest play or loose parts play. And this is unstructured child-led play. So using natural loose parts, such as sticks and pine cones and rocks, children create their own projects, or they explore balance and texture, and they practice collaboration. And then, like you saw in a previous slide, there's sometimes a visual art aspect. So using what is available in nature, students create artwork. It can be inspired by what they have seen that day or made from things that they find. It can be structured or unstructured, as I gave 2 examples in a previous slide. So here I've just included the areas of development and competencies that are within the preschool cycle program. In the next slide, you'll see how aspects of Rebecca's Forest School or Leaves and Lichens programs connects directly to the same thing. I've included a picture. You'll see students here on the side collaborating, making what seems to me to be a bridge. And I've also included a picture of students' art, and you can see the colors that they chose. It's just neat to see what inspired them that day to make it. So like I said, the key features of child development, like we saw in the competencies in the previous slide, the program directly fosters aspects of that. So these include physical and motor development. So this is done basically through children climbing trees, balancing, jumping over logs, and handling natural materials. They develop social and emotional development as well. Students foster independence and they gain confidence as they navigate outdoor environments. Social skills are enhanced through collaboration and communication when building or creating together. Then we have language development. So this is done through storytelling and discussion. And then we have cognitive development, and this enhances problem-solving skills through nature-based challenges. Students also develop early STEAM knowledge through plant and animal life and weather patterns. Teachers connection. So as I've mentioned, we have focused the program within our K4 and K5 classes in both schools, simply because there are aspects that are embedded in the program that directly correlate with the competencies in the preschool cycle program. So I have two teachers that I featured here. I only have one photo, unfortunately, but two gave me their feedback on what they connect the program with in their competencies. So the program develops competency 1, physical and motor development. When students are balancing or jumping over logs, they gain better control over their bodies. They develop their thinking skills when it comes to safe versus unsafe play. And this is from Miranda Garz, our pre-K teacher from Farnham Elementary. Then we have Nadie Lichens featured in this photo here. And she connects it to competency 5, which is discovering the world around them. She states that students need to be in contact with nature by handling and discovering different raw materials. They explore natural areas around them, going to other areas outside of the playground, which allows them to have access to things maybe like pine cones or acorns that they don't necessarily have on the playground. She also states how that visual arts component, so blending nature while exploring artistic elements such as shapes and lines and colors, how that can be connected to some of the competencies as well. The program's approach allows us to observe and discover the characteristics of physical environment. So during her activities, Rebecca explains how to explore and use different tools to observe and compare substances, objects, and living creatures. Observe and interact with nature and natural phenomenon over short, medium, and long periods of time, including changes in the weather. And that is our K5 teacher for many, many years at Farnham Elementary. And I just want to do a little side note. While it is wonderful to connect this kind of a program and activities to the curriculum, I think it's important to see the other benefits that it has on our kids. So reducing stress and anxiety. It also instills a love of nature and environmental responsibility, as well as teaches basic conservation practices. Funding. So there are opportunities to help secure funding for outdoor learning initiatives. When writing grants, we usually emphasize the importance on a child's mental and physical health and how this can have a positive impact on their learning success. So I also include the need for transport funds when I'm writing grants, just in case we want to access places that are further than our walking distance, such as mountains or different places like that. We've secured funding from the CST Inspired Minds Grant. Desjardins has helped throughout the years as well. The Montérégion Bouge Grant, as well as Elan Artists Inspires Grant, of which Rebecca is one of the teaching artists there. So our CLC schools have made it a priority to maintain this program. So each year we try to have a budget to at least be able to give one 4-week program to each K4 and K5 class in each school. Ideally, it would be great if we could give 3 sessions to each class, but we do what we can with what we have. And I think even having 1 session is impactful for the students. So this concludes my presentation. First and foremost, I would like to thank the teachers and principals and fellow CDAs that are in the room who really see the value for our students in programs like these. And I'd like to just give a huge thank you to the teams that I work with in both schools, whom are always eager to participate in this program year after year. They're willing to learn and continue this important work. And for that, I'm truly thankful. I always like to end basically anything I do with a quote. So this is from Angela Hascom, and she's a pediatric occupational therapist who believes children require unstructured play in nature for optimal development outcomes. And you can look her up on YouTube. She does a TED Talk, I believe, and some podcasts. And she states that a healthy childhood is one in which children have time and space to explore the outdoors. Thanks.
Thank you, Krista. That was wonderful. That was so great to hear about it. It's so inspiring to hear about what the kids are up to. I love it. Because, there's always theory, but it's great to see it in practice. So our next guest today is Sheldon Harvey from Bird Protection Quebec. Please go ahead, Sheldon.
Thank you for inviting me today. I'm not a teacher, although I've been doing some teaching. I work volunteer actually with Bird Protection Quebec. We are the one of the oldest conservation and birding groups in Canada. We were formed in 1917 here in Montreal. We are a registered charity as well. And we do, Danielle mentioned earlier, we do issue grants, educational grants, but they have to be for projects related to birds specifically. And I'll go into that a little bit later or answer any questions you may have on that. 5 years ago, I was contacted by Brian Petter, who's with the Riverside School Board and works with the CLCs for Richelieu Valley. He heard me talking about birds at a Legion, the Royal Canadian Legion here in Greenfield Park, and asked me if I could meet him. I did, and we very quickly set up a grant application, which he submitted to Bird Protection Quebec and received an approved grant, and started working with 5 schools, elementary schools in the Riverside School Board, implementing bird watching, nature studies into the schools. It's been going for 5 years. He's received supplementary grants to the initial grant. And since that time, we've hooked up with many other schools throughout the province of Quebec. I saw some names pop up when Danielle opened up the room, some familiar names that I saw in there working with organizations that have money from Bird Protection Quebec. We have probably about 15 different schools throughout the province, and some of them quite widespread: Valcartier, Val-d'Or, the Outaouais region, and numerous others. Strangely enough, we have none on the island of Montreal. We have been to numerous teachers' conventions, the QPAT conventions in Montreal for several years. We've talked to many, many teachers about our grants. And this year alone, we had, I don't know how many people that we talked to and gave them information about grants. We did not receive one application from any of those teachers or schools. So I was a little bit concerned about that as to why. That's a whole other story that we'll have to get into at some point. Today, though, I'd like to specifically mention a project that's coming up with Birds Canada. Birds Canada is a national organization for bird conservation, bird protection, bird studies throughout the country. Most of the clubs, birding clubs and conservation groups within Canada that work with birds are members of Birds Canada. It's kind of an umbrella organization for all of the birding groups across the country. They have got a program set up for the month of May, which is quite unique. It's called a Schoolyard Blitz. And Danielle, if you could put up that page from Birds Canada, we'll talk a little bit about it. So it's a Schoolyard Blitz, and it's looking at birds that the kids can see from their schoolyard. So they're inviting students and teachers across the country to get involved in this actively. If you want to scroll down a little bit on the page, please. There's a short video there, which you can take a look at. I won't spend the time going through it today, but you can. You'll have the links later on, and you can take a look at it. How this works is, if you can scroll down again, please. They give you all the details of what you need to get started. And you can get all of this information in downloads from Birds Canada's website. They're giving you a chart, two-sided chart in color of birds in the region. They're giving you a log sheet where you can keep a bird tally. And what they want you to do, it's not going to take a lot of time. You pick one day during the month of May, and you spend as little as 15 minutes during that day, or you can spend more if you like. It's up to you. And you have the kids see what kind of birds they can see outside, record all of the details, and submit that to Birds Canada. So the details are on the page of how to prepare for it. If you can scroll down a little bit more to the next section there, you can improve your Schoolyard Blitz and take your bird learning experience even further. And they give you some ideas here as to what you can do. Now, a lot of these ideas are already in practice in the schools that we've been working, that Bird Protection Quebec has been working with over the last 5 years. When we receive a grant, and even for schools that don't receive a grant, they can contact us, and I go around to various schools and do either in-person workshops or Zoom workshops on introduction to bird watching. And in those presentations, we introduce a little bit of the projects that have been started already by some of the other schools. The other schools are willing to share their experiences and their projects with new schools that are coming on board. So there's a great network being developed among the different schools and the school boards to share information on what they're doing with bird studies and bird observation. What I've learned in the last couple of years is the expansion of outdoor classrooms. And in the first presentation today, we saw some examples of what's being done. Many of the schools are looking for things to do with their outdoor classrooms. Surprisingly, many of them that I've spoken to didn't involve birds. Some of them were set up in beautiful spots where there were lots of birds around them. They had forests close by, or they had a very green campus that birds were hanging out around. So we've got kids building bird feeders from recycled products. We've got them making suet cakes in the schools. We've got them purchasing binoculars through grant money, setting up bird feeders on the school grounds, making their school grounds bird friendly by planting certain types of bird friendly vegetation, flowers, plants, etc. And setting up birding clubs within their school. And this has become a little bit competitive among the schools as well. They dedicate certain time during the week where the kids can go out and observe the birds on the property, go for short walks in the neighborhood, keep track of all the birds they see, and then set up what's called an eBird account. It's a worldwide database for recording bird observations, which was set up by Cornell University. So each school can set up their site as a site for birds. And it becomes a little bit competitive of which schools see more bird species than the others. But all of the birds you see, you can report them online regularly into this eBird database. And at any point in time, you can go and see historically what's been seen in a particular spot. You can see it around the world and check what people are seeing almost in real time. So this is great collection of data that scientists, biologists, ornithologists are using, collected by people like you and me and the kids that are out there keeping track of the birds they see. So we'll give you the link to eBird as well and how it all works. It's all free, by the way. eBird is open to everyone. Go back to the Bird Schoolyard Blitz again. So as I said, you pick a day, you search and count the birds, you keep track of them all, have the kids use their color charts to identify the birds, learn more about them. They can go online to a website through Cornell University called All About Birds, and you can type in any bird name and up will come a page giving you all kinds of details about that species, giving you help as to what you can use to help you identify a bird. Videos, sounds, audio, pictures, the whole works, and details, range maps, pictures of the birds at different times of the year, a lot of general information on All About Birds. It's an excellent, excellent website as well. So coming back to the Birding Blitz, doesn't cost you anything to get involved. You can do it from inside the school, just looking out the windows. You can go out for a short walk around the school, but in particular, they want the details of what the kids are seeing at their school. So you see there, search for and count birds, giving you the options of any day during the month. You can participate more than one time, several times during the month. You just keep submitting the data and the kids will learn more as they go along. They give you tips for finding and identifying the birds as well. I mentioned eBird. There is an app that people can put onto their phones called Merlin. It's a free app created by Cornell, and that will help you identify the birds that you see and hear. We like people to identify them by sight and sound before they use Merlin. Merlin should be used as a tool to help you confirm things. If you hear something, it can listen to the call and give you a suggestion as to what bird it might be. But we hope that kids start to learn the birds by identification and by sound on their own, and using Merlin as a tool to confirm things for them or to help them with maybe something they don't recognize. We'll scroll down a little bit more. We'll go to the reports. So this is the important part. You can tag the Bird Blitz adventures at Schoolyard Bird Blitz, and more information on the whole project is available from Birds Canada. You have the education email address there. They do a lot of other projects as well, which are available for people to get involved in. We call these projects citizen science. It's involving everyday people gathering data which is used by professionals in the field of birds. So you submit your loggings and you can then go in and explore it after and see what other people are seeing. So it's a really neat project. It doesn't take a lot of time. There's really no money involved. Beneficial, obviously, if you have binoculars in the school or kids that may have their own binoculars as well. Some of the schools that have received grants from Bird Protection Quebec have used some of the grant money to purchase a couple pair of binoculars to have in the school. What we found out is kids that started using them in the school went home and asked their parents for binoculars as a birthday gift or as Christmas gift. We had parents thanking us for not having to run around and buy kids video games or what have you. They were asking for bird feeders, they were asking for binoculars, they were asking for reference books. It was really encouraging to see the students also going home and teaching their parents about birds, making their own bird feeders out of empty soft drink bottles or empty milk cartons or a number of different items that can be used to build homemade feeders, particularly using recycled material. So I think this ties in perfectly to the outdoor studies. It ties in perfectly to outdoor classrooms. The grants that I talked about, Bird Protection Quebec issues educational grants once a year. The deadline is December every year, and the grants are issued usually starting in March. They're generally between $1,000 to $3,000 a year. They can be renewable. We simply ask in return each year that you submit a report as to how the money was used and what projects you've been working on. At that time, you can reapply, and the grants committee will review them and see if you will get an additional grant. The Riverside School Board and RVCLC for Richelieu Valley have received money, I think, in 3 of the 5 years. One of the years was the COVID year, so they didn't really use any money that year, so they did not reapply. They've just received another $3,000 from us this year. So we don't approve every grant application. We have a budget, obviously, but we do like to encourage kids getting involved. It helps repopulate our organization down the road by getting kids started really early. We have only worked with elementary schools up to now. That was not by choice. We just started with elementary and we kept going with it. I think it works very well with young people, young kids in elementary school of all ages, to get them started, and then they will gradually progress as they go along. And it's revolving, because the kids that start grade 2, grade 3, they move on, and then the next group of grade 2, grade 3, or grade 4 comes along, so the school can keep the project going. We've tied it into curriculum, geography studies, science studies, music studies even. Tie it into your outdoor studies as well. So there's lots of things that can be done with it. And as I said, the schools that are already working on these projects are willing to share their experiences with anyone else who wants to get involved.
Thank you, Sheldon. I did put in the chat a link from when Sheldon presented many webinars during the pandemic about learning to identify birds. So that's always a great place to start. But I definitely can vouch for your experience with working with schools and leading groups out in public through the Bird Protection Quebec. Always worthwhile finding the money on the table. They just have money for us, waiting for us to come and work with them. And I know that Jane can even speak to that in her school, her students helped build plaques in the local municipal park to help identify the birds in the area. And that was a great partnership as an example.
In some of the outlying areas as well, what we do is hook you up with a local birding organization, and they can take you out on field trips. We've also done some field trips ourselves with schools in our area here, but in some of the other areas, I know in Val-d'Or they did a great outdoor trip with a local birding club. Many of the students there are Indigenous kids, and the elders in the community were overwhelmed that these kids were getting out of the classroom and out into nature. So it has so many benefits in so many different areas.
Once you get hooked, you're hooked. I'm telling you, it's definitely something to try. So thank you for your time, Sheldon. We're going to move on to Nadie, who's going to tell us about her work in Gaspé, working with pre-K. Would you like me to start sharing slides right now?
Yes, we can start, but I want to thank Mr. Sheldon for the nice ideas, because I agree with you. Sometimes we go in surface. We don't go deep enough in the bird, in the topic, even if it's something like that we see every day. So when I spoke to Danielle about the topic today, what came to my mind right away, well, I teach kindergarten 4 years old in Gaspé, at Gaspé Elementary School. This year I have 13 children, only K4 together. I'm doing this since, I'm a teacher since 25 years, but teaching K4, I'm teaching K4, I think, since 18 years now. And at the beginning of my career teaching in preschool, I was mostly inside with the students. It's really something that happened and that kind of built by itself without really knowing what I was doing. I'm going to explain to you. I knew already that I like to be outside because of our region, because of the area. We was like Krista. I spent as a child a lot of time outside, but I really like in practice, I really see the benefits right away without even knowing that it was the outdoor learning approach that was so beneficial for the learning. So here you see some of my children on our schoolyard. We're lucky. We have a large schoolyard with trees. That's one area. We also have a playground structure that we don't really go that often. We're mostly in the woods. So this is our like part of our students. We can move to the next slide. Danielle asked me to talk about engagement today. This is what she said, and experiential learning. So the first thing that came to my mind was, okay, if we want them to be engaged outdoor in their learning, we have to give them time. We have to allow them time. So that came like, this is what I was thinking. Let's talk about the schedule, how I do this concretely, because Krista spoke about her program, but what I see here, it's more in like, it's a daily thing. It's a lifestyle. So in the morning, you see that we usually welcome them inside. They come in, and in the morning we have 2 blocks of time where we are outdoor. So we usually eat our snack outdoor, like depends on the weather, but most of the time we eat outside. So we have tables outside, we have tarp. And in the afternoon, I bring them back in for lunch, for their nap. That we can also do outdoors, but that's not what I'm doing. And at the end of the day, we go for a community walk in the afternoon. And I also have another learning block outdoors. So the community walk that happens in the afternoon, we walk every day. We walk for 5 kilometers in our school area. And of course we meet different people. Sometimes I have a goal in mind. Sometimes we're doing like a color walk where we spy for colors. Sometimes it's a cultural visit. Sometimes I bring them on the main street and we do visit different places. So yes, sometimes I have a goal in mind, and sometimes it's just led by the students. And I have this, you can't really see, but this is interesting to see that it's a continuum. Some activities are that I planned myself, but some activities that just came from the children. And I wrote the word flexibility there, because if you don't allow them enough time, you won't really see the engagement happening. And I think that the learning happens when the kids get engaged, and that's only with time. So yes, I do have a schedule where I have to take my lunch hour, where I have to switch with another teacher because it's their own lunch hour, but I'm very, very flexible. We have that possibility in our school. It's a small school with a small team. So that's important. You allow them time to develop their curiosity outside and their openness and their sensitivity. Because if they don't go outside, I don't think you can't expect them to be that engaged. They have to be in contact enough with nature in order for them to want to ask questions and to want to learn and to want to be curious. It's like us. I mean, we get more curious when you're in contact with something. Let's say I'm starting to read books written by an author. At first, if it's just a book, I read the book and, oh yeah, it's interesting. I'm a reader. That's why I'm talking about that. But more you kind of dig about an author, you want to read all his books. So it's the same thing for nature. More you are in contact with nature, more you want to learn about nature. We can move to the next slide. Here, this is something that I just found that I was presenting to other preschool teachers. So learning through play, what does it mean? So when we say play is a child's work, this is what we mean. The activity begins as play and ends as work. So we do need to give them time to play. And in our program, the QAP, the program, we should give them 2 blocks of 40-45 minutes daily of free play. But free play doesn't mean, and I I'll do my 2 blocks of time outdoors. Yes, we can play in our classroom, at the kitchen, at the books corner, but I make the decision of let them play outdoors. And I do see the benefits for sure. So 2 blocks of time where you're there, you're a facilitator, I would say, with all the curriculum in mind. And it's interesting because Krista presented this, okay, that's from the program, the QEP. And every day I can easily check on this. Okay, what did I do? Oh, yeah, they explore sensory perceptions. Oh, yeah, they move. Oh, yeah, they recognize this and that. Yeah, they develop their autonomy. It's all there. By being outside, directed, like some activity or pre-planned, but even like you need to trust the process. You trust their capacity of learning. But it really works. I mean, since I go outdoors, it's 3 to 4 hours per day that I spend outdoors with the students. So since I do this, I think I cover more the program than what I was doing during more traditional teaching approach, I found. We can move to the next slide. Yes, I did apply for grants year after year. And I went to URLS gym. I think it's more for a gym. It's for Gaspésie, Île-de-la-Madeleine. It's les unités régionales loisirs et sport. And there's some other different measures from MELS. And Krista mentioned some other measures that we were applying. And year after year, I don't even from my budget class, I don't order books and pencils and crayons and scissors anymore. I do order like 25 pairs of winter mitts. And I mean, I order that from my classroom budget. That's how I kind of build my material. So they each get a rain suit at the beginning of the year. That's school material, but they each have a rain suit. They also have a winter suit, mitts, boots, fleece, sweater. And since I have the material, we can stay longer outside because it's good quality and they're well equipped. And on the picture here, you see that a few years ago, 3-4 years ago, and me, I'm a person like I do plan, like I know where I'm going, but I see the needs when it happens. Like I've noticed that I needed a space for gathering and doing our circle talk and our group discussion. So I did apply for a grant. I don't remember which one it was, to have big rocks in a space where I could actually teach. I don't call it the outdoor classroom because it's not really a classroom. It's more like a gathering space. And it's now used by many other teachers in our school. So when you do something, more they see you being outside, it's like contagious. More teachers bring their students outside. So I found it nice that I kind of contaminate, if it's a word, my colleagues in a sense. We can move to the next slide. So I have all kinds of projects and the parents are in the loop. I have to say we're organizing many activities where the parents are invited, those who can attend. We don't force anyone, but it's someone says that, I think it's Sheldon, when you teach something in class, you do an activity and kids talk about it at home, and then the kids get interested and the family brings them outside more. So when you have parents in the loop, good chances are that even at night, like evening and weekends, they will spend time outside because it's going to come from their child. I want to go outside. I've learned this and that. So I found it interesting to see that it has an impact at home as well, reducing the screen time. We can move forward. This is just a project that we have year after year. It's we are in collaboration with an organisme communautaire. We're doing our own planting seeds, and the seeds are local as well. So it's a project that the school is involved, but it's led by the preschoolers. We can change slide. So it develops responsibility, respect, knowledges, because we learn about plants, we learn about gardening. We can switch. That's just one project that we have. And I connect it to the literacy as well. And it becomes really our collective activity, because I do welcome the students in September, August at the garden. So we have the previous group who are now in kindergarten, 5 years old, who are welcoming the K4, eating our vegetables in August and September. That's a very nice sharing space, the jardin communautaire. We can change. And I'm not going through the table that we have from the ministry, but everything's there. We have motricity, we have cognitive, we have language, the social aspect, everything's there. Here is another project that we have in collaboration with the Ministère de la Faune, Ministère des Pêches et Océans. Soon, I think it's next week, we're going to get salmon eggs. So we're learning about the salmon. And in June, which is almost at the end, you can switch slide. We go to the river because we have the chance to have the river where we let the salmon goes. We have our aquarium, a water tank, but we take a bus, and that's a nice field trip that we do every year in June. So they see it from the egg to the river. You can switch. I just put some books and some, it's more for teachers, I should say. Very, very interesting books that I like to look at. The big book, I think I have it on. No, I don't have this one. This is like a Bible for ideas, or I'm not going to name here all the benefits that Krista mentioned of outdoor nature, but for special needs students, we do see, like, sometimes you have a child who has special needs and it's well documented. You know that you don't see it outside. You see it in the classroom, but when you do the activity outdoors, you don't see it. The child is engaged. So it's very interesting to see. I think that's why I'm kind of switch my hat now, and I do spend most of my day outdoors because I have less discipline with the kids, and the kids are more engaged. We can switch if there's another one. The nature preschool forest garden. And I also brought, because I only have like a few minutes left, I sent Daniel 2 videos that I'd like to share with you to see the engagement of the students when we do activities. One activity was about, I don't know if you know the Building Classroom book. As a staff, we dug into it, and we decided to try some activities. Those are math activities. And I decided to do it outdoors with the students. And one video, you can press play, Danielle. We had 2 students. So sometimes I do bring the outdoor, the inside, outside. So it's an activity that I could easily do in the classroom, but I decided to do it outdoors and see what it does. Do you hear something? I don't.
Oh, sorry. Do you not hear it?
No.
Okay, let me try again. I'll have to stop share and share again.
So in this video, you really hear their thinking and their learning process. So it's the easier way to start. It's to bring your indoor outdoor. So that's an example of how you can start.
Okay, let me know again, please. Thank you.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Whoa, that's a big number. Can you find this number?
Well, let's see that number. How is that coming? Number 1. Oh, yeah. Is that 1? I don't think how it's here.
This is 12? This is 12, and how many quills? You can pause, Danielle. So when I did this activity with the kids, we were actually learning about the porcupine. Okay, so the kids, the 2 girls there were actually making their own porcupine with a foam ball, with twigs, and they were counting the quills. So it's an activity that I decided to do outdoors with them, but I could easily do inside using some outdoor material. So it's just an idea of what you can do outside without it, like, and the kids are well outside. It's their natural environment. And the other video that I have that I want to share with you, it's another map game, I think.
You just find some.
Oh, no. This is a good one. It's not a map game. This is when I say you need to allow them time to be outside in order for them to develop their curiosity, that happened last week during our community walk. We did an activity the week before about tracks, animal tracks. And I kind of stopped and I said, oh, I'm going to take my phone and see. So when you give that, you give them time and you give them space, this is what happened. So we were just walking and a child noticed some tracks. You can press play.
We just find some tracks and we're wondering which animal made those tracks. Claire, any ideas?
I know. An owl.
An owl?
Right there.
Yeah, they're pretty big. What do you think? A rabbit? Like a hare?
Much bigger we have. A much bigger we have. It's too small. It's too big.
It's too big for a rabbit?
I think it was here last night. I think it was here last night.
It was here last night, maybe? So it could be an owl because it's a nocturnal.
I don't know what they
Jace, what do you think?
We can pause. And later on, they told me that the tracks were going to the trunk. So they figured out that it was an animal who could climb. So when you give them space, like I did not plan to have this activity, that just came just like this. So you have to be, I would say, as a teacher, you have to be attentive, you have to be patient, and you have to be flexible. This is why I'm saying that time is the key for the learning. The learning happens. So that start, I'm just looking at my sheet because I just like highlight 3 words: curiosity, engagement, and learning. So that's how it starts. And curiosity is developed by itself when you are in contact with nature. I'm looking at the time and this is what I had to say, but I could, like, we could talk about it like longer for sure, but this is what I could share with you today in a concrete aspect.